Hey everybody, today we're continuing our series on rhythm patterns, and today we're going to be talking about our 5-note rhythm pattern and how to play that over our 5th chord progression. So with all these chord progressions, we've been doing it in C, and we start off with a C major scale just so that we go over all the basics. So C major scale is like this: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And then we use the number system and apply numbers to this major scale. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And then we use chords to play on top of that. So the chord progression goes like this. C is your 1 chord, D minor is your 2, your 3rd chord is 1 over 3, or C over E, your 4th chord is an F, 5th chord is a G, your 6th chord is an A minor, your 7th chord is a slash chord, it's a 5 over 7, or a G over B, and then your last chord is a C. But we don't like playing it like that because it doesn't sound very smooth. So that's why we use these 5 chord progressions to basically find another way to play that major scale chord progression. So we're going to be doing this 5th one, and it goes like this. Have you ever wanted to learn how to play your favorite worship songs on piano? Well, I have something that's perfect for you. It's called Worship Piano Academy. It's an online space to help people of all skill levels learn to play worship piano exactly like the pros do. It's packed full of simple techniques that are easy to follow and tailored specifically for worship piano players. If you're brand new to piano, we have all the basic lessons to get you on track. If you've been playing for a while, we have tons of advanced lessons and tips for you too. So check out worshippianoacademy.com. So your first chord is a C, and we play that with octave Gs. And then our next chord is a F sus2 over a D. So we play it like this in place of that 2 minor. So it's a F sus2 over D. Our next chord is a 1 over 3. So that's a C with octave Gs. And then our next chord, our 4 chord, is a F sus2. And then our 5th chord is a G sus4 with octave Gs. And here's our sus4. And then our 6th chord is a C over A with octave Gs. And then it's a G sus4 over a B, or a 5 over 7. And then our last chord's a C. So it goes like this. And then the rhythm pattern that we're going to add to that chord progression, it's 5 notes, and we play it as 16th note increments. And so quarter notes is kind of the foundation of your rhythm pattern. So quarter notes means that there's 4 quarter notes in one measure of music, and you count it 1, 2, 3, 4. An 8th note is double that, so then it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then 16th notes would be double that, and so it's 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. So that 16th note pattern is how we're going to play this 5-note progression. So we'll start with our left hand because it's a little bit more complicated if you're not used to playing rhythm with your left hand. So we're going to walk up this major scale, and then in between the rhythm pattern, we're going to use our 2nd finger, and we're going to play the 5th note of the next chord that we're going into. The only caveat with that is when we get to our 1 over 3 and our 5 over 7, that's when our rhythm finger is going to change. And so with this 1 over 3, you're almost playing a slash chord with just your hand. So in the key of C, it's a C over E. So here's your C, and then your E would be right there. So that's kind of the rhythm pattern that you do. And the same thing with the 5 over 7, it's a G over B. So it would be your G and then your B. That. But everything else, it's the 5th note of the next chord that you're going to play. So if we're going into C, and then going into D, and then C over E, that's one of the changes. And then here's your 4 chord, which is your F, your 5 chord, which is your G, 6 minor, and then here's the slash chord, like that. So and then if you play the chords with that, and then here's where we're going to jump down an octave because we run out of room because our fingers are going to overlap. Just like that. And then the rhythm with our right hand, we're using the top note and the bottom note of each chord that we play. So it doesn't matter if we play a C like this or an F sus2 like that, it's going to be the top note and the bottom note of each chord. And so we apply that like this. So it's going to be on the 4, E, and so a 5-note rhythm pattern that goes into the next chord. So it would be like this. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4, E, and into the next chord. 2, 3, 4, E, and remember we're going into that slash chord, the 1 over 3, so our rhythm finger jumps up to the C over E. 1, 2, 3, 4, E, and 1, 2, 3, 4, E, and we're going to jump down because we're out of room. 1, 2, 3, 4, E, and 1, 2, 3, 4, E, and 1, 2, 3, 4, E, and 1. Like that. So we'll speed this up with the tempo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, jump down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Just like that. So if it's a little bit tricky for you to combine both of your hands, just work on your left hand because most of the time that's going to be your sticky part. And if you can't do it about that fast, then you want to work on that with the metronome and just kind of work your way up and down playing that and just try to get as used to as you can playing that with your left hand and then combining it with your right. So now let's work on these chord changes where they're on the 1 beat and the 3 beat. And so our rhythm pattern is going to be 2 E and then 4 E and So it'll sound like this. And then if your chord changes are spread further apart, you can add quarter note rhythm hits in your right hand to kind of keep that rhythm pattern going. And so we'll do the rhythm pattern or the quarter note hits on the 2 and the 3 beat, and then we'll do that 5-note rhythm pattern on the 4 E and going into the next chord on the 1 beat. So it'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it's important when you practice these, don't just walk up and down this major scale, because when you're playing songs, they don't follow that progression, right? It's going to be chords that are inside this major scale. So find some different chord progressions and just kind of work your way through practicing this, this rhythm pattern as you play the different chord changes, and it'll help get yourself a little bit more familiar with it. And so for this chord pattern, we'll just do 4, 1, 5, 6, and then we'll kind of bounce around after that. So some different chords. Just like that. So it's important, once you get this down and you're very comfortable playing this in the key of C, then move to other keys. You know, playing this rhythm pattern, this progression in all 12 keys is going to really build your playing style. It's going to make you a much better piano player. So we're going to go through these. We'll start in the key of C, and then we'll work through the other 12 keys. D. And then E. and then F. And then G. And then A. And then B. Now let's do the sharps and flats. Let's go C sharp. And then E flat. And then F sharp. And then G sharp. And then B flat. And that's it. So work on that, and then I'll see you in the next lesson where we talk about our 6th note rhythm patterns.